Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Shu. How you doing?
Awesome. Yeah, so I just like setting things up. We're pretty much good to
Yeah,
go.
I know. I just joined early so that I can also do my own checks and make sure you can hear me clearly. But can you hear me clearly though?
Sorry? Yeah, I can hear you clearly. I can.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Dolakwade Jube. I'm one of the co-founders of Traction and super excited to be here. It's 7:03. Let's give about 3 more minutes. Let's start at 7:06 and so give some more folks time to join, and we can start our exciting conversation today. So 7:06. Thank you all.
Have you been using different apps to manage your business operations? Well, you no longer have to. With Traction apps, you can accept payments with same-day settlement, manage your inventory, generate invoices, and track your sales history. All you have to do is sign up with these easy steps. Go to www.tractionapps.co and click on Sign In. click on Create One at the bottom of the sign-in page. Input your first and last name, then input your phone number, email address, and desired password. The final step is to type in your business name, select your business category, and referral code if you were brought on board by one of our affiliates. Click on Sign Up, and that's it. You are officially part of the Traction.
Wonderful. Che, can you run that video one more time? And then we'll start afterwards. Thank you very much. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think we can start. Hi, everyone. I think we have quorum. We are still waiting for our second speaker, but we will start and she will join later. So really appreciate everyone joining. I know it's 7 p.m. on Thursday, almost end of the week. Folks are tired, but we are almost, 1 hour conversation that I believe is going to be super exciting, super engaging, and super insightful. My name is Dolapo Adejubi. I'm one of the co-founders of Traction, and I will explain what we do. But what we are here today is essentially to discuss bridging the gap between employment and employability. And I think, what we have two sets of people in the room, on the webinar today, right? We have the employers, and we also have, the potential employees or folks who are looking for employment. And I think it's just super important. A lot of times we talk in silos in terms of what we are looking for, as employers, what we are looking for, how we see the market, versus what employees are, are building their portfolio on, and and how they're thinking about, employment and how to fit into the workforce and to gain employment. I think it is a very, very interesting and needed topic in this season, so to speak, right? What has, I know a lot of times webinars start with it's pandemic, but we can't escape the fact that the face and the mode of working and employment has changed, and gig economy is increasing, and that was already on the rise before in the pandemic, but now it's you have that, plus you have remote working, and now there are different forms and types of ways for employment, and the employment structure, and now we have folks, potential employees and employees wanted a different type of arrangement, and so the question is, who needs to play catch up, right? And as an employer, I see a lot of times that the employers need to play catch up, and so we want to use this opportunity to just discuss a number of those things, right? But for starters, and thankfully, we are here with two folks, two partners who really understand this space, right? We have Jobberman. Jobberman is the largest marketplace for jobs in Nigeria, but obviously they're part of a platform that manages job marketplaces across the continent. And so, one thing I've always looked to Jobberman is that they can tell us, what is happening in Nigeria and how to navigate Nigeria, but also with insights of what is going on across the continent and even outside, to get a lot of employers and employees to catch up. So that's that. And we have Wave Academies, who have been very instrumental. Wave stands for West Africa, they're focused on vocational education, but across, you think blue collar, but also white collar. They have gone through the spread of job opportunities and really looking for the right fit for both employees and employers. And now Traction, and if this is the first time that you are hearing about us, first of all, we are a merchant business service platform. What does that mean, right? A lot of times entrepreneurs like myself, really, they want to grow their company, but they first need to understand what's going on. And you guys, with technology, you are using different apps and different platforms to manage your payments, to manage your records. And what we have done is basically create that one-stop platform for SMEs to manage and grow their business. And we have done that from three points of view, right? So first of all, it's payments, so especially in-store payments. We have built a platform that aggregates all of that. So be it, card terminals, bank transfer. We have created a solution that allows merchants to not have to, the cashiers not having to call the managers and bosses that have you received the transfer. So on our platform, the cashiers can check, the transactions without, and without the risk of someone having access to your account. And, we have the QR code and USSD. So that's payments. And lending, it's basically that we have now been able to provide full circle understanding, of your business. So it's very easy to learn based off of activities on the platform. And then we have business tools. And that ranges from, in retail management, and, inventory, invoicing, and even we have online stores, as well. So essentially, when you think about the front end, how to manage your business, we have basically helped you aggregate all of that. And why are we doing this? We do this all the time because our mission is to, and the problem that we are trying to solve is how do we make businesses grow? How do we make businesses more productive? And while we are focused on certain areas for business, we seek partnerships with folks like Jobberman and Wave to basically say, how are we providing merchants and business owners that full circle view of the journey and providing solutions across the journey. And we do this often. Webinars, we on our page, we have a newsletter that we share insights and really focus on how customers need to grow. So that is who we are, and that I'm Dolapo, the co-founder. And now we have, I think we have Chisom and Somto on the line. Hi, how are you? You're on mute, Chisom.
Yeah, yes, I just realized. I'm fine, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. And do you want to just introduce yourself and what you're looking to discuss today? Yeah.
Okay, my name is Chisom Ofili. I'm the head of recruitment for Jobberman Nigeria. I have over 10 years experience in recruitment. The core of what I do is recruitment. So I have experience in entry level, mid-level, as well as senior level roles. So yes, that's a bit about me, just a summary.
Yeah. And Santo, hello. How are you? Now I can see your face. Santo, say hello, introduce yourself and what Wave does essentially, right? Yeah. You're on mute. Yeah. We can't hear you. So what we will do is that we'll start, and then when something, you try again, maybe you log in and out, and we'll go for it. So Chisom, tell us more about I feel like Jobberman has two types of, or maybe two types of customers. You're a marketplace that deal with both the business owners and both business owners and the employees. What is the value proposition? What do you offer business owners, and what do you offer SMEs and the employees, so to speak? Yeah. You're on mute. Okay, just hold on. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so like you said, at Jobberman, we interface both with the employees as well as the employers. So what we do for employers, SMEs, big organizations is that we connect them to the right talent. And what we do for employees is that we connect the employees to their dream jobs or and help them to advance their careers. So that's basically what we do. So we are like the middlemen on both ends.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask Santo, can you hear me now? Can we try? Okay, Santo is struggling, but we will continue. But tell me, over the last, how would you say, so what I would do first is talk about the SMEs and what SMEs are looking for and how SMEs, that trend and dynamic before we go into employees. So tell me, what is that trend? What are we seeing? What is the landscape, especially from an employer? What is the landscape? What are employees asking for? And what do you think employees need to, employers need to adjust to essentially? Yeah. More about the employers.
The employers, because you were asking about the employers and employees. So are you referring to the employers?
Let's start with the employers and what that dynamic is in terms of hiring, and managing employees essentially.
Okay, so basically what employers are looking for are actually the right fit for their organization when it comes to culture, as well as the right fit for the job. What they're actually looking for now is candidates that are qualified, candidates that have the right soft skills as well as academic skills, as well as the experience that they need to move their organization forward, because they understand that they can't do it on their own. One person can't have all those skills. So what the employers are actually looking for is the right fit in all ramifications. So be it soft skills, be it culture fit, be it educational qualification, as well as the job itself. So that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. And how has that, the needs and what they've been looking for and the structure of of employment. How has that changed over the last, say, 2 years?
Well, the thing now is that employers are beginning to understand that the labor market is not how it used to be. So candidates are looking for organizations where they can further their careers. It's no longer an employer's market. It's more like the employees market. So now we have
Indeed.
where candidates go online, research about the company, they go ahead and ask people questions, do a lot of research before they bother to come for an interview. So yes, so that's where we are now. That's where we are now. Yeah.
And what would you say? So I'm very sure you work as Jobberman, you guys work a lot with HR personnel in the organization, right? And to tell me, what is that dynamic? How do you normally engage? I know a lot of businesses sometimes have that capacity to hire an HR person. How do you guys engage? What are those things that you help HR, folks with? And sometimes and I want you to speak to a lot of business owners do not have HR people. And so what's that difference? How is that engagement different when you have to engage directly with a business owner to help them with the employer? And what are those trends and experiences that you think that can be cost corrected for both engaging with the business owner and both with the HR personnel?
Well, we have directly worked with HR directors, HR personnel, as well as business owners themselves. What we basically do for them is when they have a need, they come to us. We do a candidate brief with them. We have meetings with them where we understand exactly what they need. When we understand exactly what they need, we go ahead to our pool database and pull out candidates based on the client specifications, and then send those profiles to them. They do their interviews, and then they pick the candidates that they want. Now, I would say that relating with the HR personnel, as well as the business owners, to an extent, in some cases, is the same. But the difference that we have is that when we liaise or speak with the HR directors as well as the business owners, in some cases, we specifically ask for the line manager. So if it's an SME, the business owner will understand exactly what he wants each person to do, because an SME is a small, medium scale enterprise where he has very few people. So he knows exactly what he wants each person to do. But when we come to a bigger organization, we prefer to speak with the line manager, because we've had cases where, okay, the line manager briefs the HR or the line manager briefs the business owner, and then they come to brief us. But we prefer to hear it from the horse's mouth so that we know exactly what you want. So in this case, we're talking about SMEs. So what we can do differently is for business owners to actually listen to our side, because we come in as as consultants. So we understand the market, we understand the candidates, we understand you from the business aspect. So there are a lot of things that we can agree with you, discuss with you, as well as open your eyes to en route getting you the right candidates. So we have things like the market price, we have things like work experience, because a lot of SMEs come in and they need candidates that have vast experience, and then their budget is not up to the market price. Do you understand? So that's where we come in. So we look for a way to meet you halfway so that you can still achieve what you want to achieve. Yes.
Got it. Samto, is your mic now working? Let's try.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Great.
Hi,
welcome.
Samto.
Apologies for that. Hi, Susom. Hi, Delapo. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So what does WAVE do for, I think I tried to explain, but from the horse's mouth, what does WAVE do for both employers and employees? Yeah.
So I think in a nutshell, if I could explain that in like one quick sentence, I'll say that we're solving the unemployment problem end to end. We're solving the unemployment problem from a skill gap perspective of finding the young people and equipping them with the skills that they need to be successful in the world of work. And we're just like Chiso mentioned, engaging with employers on that end and with the right talent to ensure that their businesses are productive. I mean, that's as short a one sentence as I can give. So literally just bridging that skills gap, both from the young person's perspective as well as from the employer's perspective.
And I know you guys engage deeply with potential employees and get them ready for the market, but I'm very sure you also advise employers on how to, contextualize their HR and hiring, to the market. But and what are those things? There are a number of businesses on, in the webinar today. What are those things that you talk to businesses in terms of how to contextualize operations for this job markets today?
I think it wouldn't be very similar to what Chisom has mentioned. I think every single time you find a vacancy, the most important thing, an employer comes to hire for someone, the most important thing is to understand what the person is going to be doing. Because I think one of the things that we have realized very quickly is that everybody's credentials don't match the competencies that they need for the job, right? So, we have this slogan at Wave that says competencies over credentials. So it's really understanding what is the person going to be doing and what are the competencies that are needed for the person to be successful on that role. The moment we get that, it's now finding the people that match those competencies. But even beyond that, I think some of the things that we engage with employers in, I think a lot of MSMEs struggle with like high attrition rates, most especially. So you're beginning to understand what are the challenges you're facing, why is your attrition rate high, and what are the other things that you're offering to motivate people beyond the compensation that you're going to offer. Things like you might find even little things like the distance to the workplace is important for people, just because of how much money they're going to be spending and what their commute times are going to be. What exactly are you offering? What's the learning and development plan for the people that are going to come on board? Are they going to learn? Is there any growth opportunities within the business? So that once you're going and finding the right talent for them, these are some of the selling points that you're able to offer to that young person who is looking for work, but also helping businesses to think about if attrition is, and I'm just using attrition as a problem that they might raise, if attrition is your problem, or if it's a specific challenge that you're facing, how are we also helping you think about possible solutions to bridge that gap so that when someone comes on board, they are able to be successful and your business can thrive.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Chisom, I'll just ask you, so, now we are seeing different types of employment. There's gig economy, there's part-time, there's freelance. How are employers adjusting to this different types of employment, and is the push coming from employers or is it coming from employees? What's the story there?
Well, yeah. So the push is coming from will I call it the latest trends in the labor market, really. And COVID-19 actually helped push Nigeria closer to that. So employers are beginning to realize that you don't have to have your staff in the office for them to achieve results. A lot of employers are beginning to go digital. They're beginning to look for freelancers, people that can work remotely, because that's where we are now, really. So employers are also beginning to realize that they don't need as many people as they thought they would. A lot of downsizing happened during this period. So employers are beginning to eliminate middle managers, in their organizations, right? So basically what they do now is they bring out whatever they need you to do at a certain time, set a target, set a timeline and all that. And they have even, they have CRMs, ways online to track what you are doing and if you are achieving results. So that's what, those are the latest trends now. Digital transformation, reduction in the number of middle managers as well as consultants. Even business trips now are being reduced because you can log on online. Yes. So, and then they are increasing the use of remote workers as well as freelance workers. Yeah.
And
That's
I
just
think, piggybacking on, just to piggyback on that, right? I've heard stories of partners who, everyone wants to move to Canada. I think it has to be said. There's a story of different companies where like 80% of their employees have left. And how are the employers adjusting to this? I'd like to hear from you, Chisam. And how do you manage this even going forward? Because it possibly is going to continue for a while. So what's the experience like? And you possibly have first-hand experience of all of this because people are reaching out to you guys. But I'd like to hear from you, Chisam, and Sumter, what's that impact, and how people
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, the impact on that is that employers are spending more on recruitment, So and this Canada thing, sometimes it happens suddenly, So
Indeed.
there are a lot of balls that have been dropping, So what happens right now is that majority of the employers, especially those that have that kind of scenario, are asking for profiles now. Want people that can resume now, they can resume in 1 week, can resume in 2 weeks, so there's really a lag in the job itself, because even if someone resumes in 1 week, the person still has to acclimatize to the environment, acclimatize to your own clients, acclimatize to what you're doing and all that. So the rate of, it's really, really affecting the rate of attrition, and really but like you said, we're still going in that direction, really. So what I would advise, I know you're asking the impact, but what I would advise,
the impacts, and what should also, like, how, because I run a business, I have Traction, we have about 45 employees. How do I plan and prepare for that? And there are a lot of businesses here as well.
Yes, what I would advise is succession planning. So you have one, don't give one man, don't make one person your shining star, right? So what I would advise is succession planning. So this person is doing this at this point, right? And this person has done this for the past 6 months, 7 months, 1 year. Who else can do exactly what he's doing? Who is understudying him? Okay, so if something happens and he disappears today, is there somebody that can take over and hit the ground running? So succession planning is very, very important. Also, recruiting people that have a career path already, have their career path mapped out for them is very important. But in a case where you don't have that, because there are some employees that don't know where they are going yet, you can actually map out these people's careers in your organization. Okay, I come in as an entry-level recruiter. In a year, in 6 months, what am I going to be doing? What is the grade level like? You need to map all of that out. And then at every point in time, don't have just one person that does everything in a particular aspect. Always plan it out. What's the succession plan? Who is taking over from this person? Okay, if these 2 people leave, who else do you have that can do that? Because what some employers do now is, okay, if the head of recruitment resigns today, they start sourcing outside for someone to come in to the organization. My question is, what about the people that you have there? Can't you move some people up and then recruit someone more junior to start learning from, you understand? So that's what I would advise, especially now that brain drain is costing the job market or the nation a lot. We need to factor in succession planning. It's very, very important. It's priority right now, because anything can happen. A lot of people, every day people are relocating, relocating. And most of these people are skilled, good quality candidates, good talents. Yes, so succession planning.
Yeah. Sumto, I like your insight on that as well, and even help us describe, Sumto, what did you, from your own, as for someone in the employment industry, so to speak, like, what is that dynamic? What is that trend? What can we, expect? Is it going to get worse? And, if, And what can employers do in addition to what Chisom has mentioned?
I think so I'll just start by saying the first thing I'll say is putting all of the burden on the employer to bring about the change is a heavy burden for anybody to carry, right? So if we could scale up a little bit and even just understand why are people leaving Nigeria? I think when we begin to think about it from a systemic perspective, then we can begin to narrow it down to how it impacts on the employers. Because yes, we can give out all of these amazing ideas for employers to begin to implement tomorrow, but if the systemic problem remains, then it's not going to bring about the change that we're looking for. And I think the biggest case study for thinking about the number of people that are leaving and its impact on our economy is the medical profession, right? When you think about the number of people that are going and when you think about how much it's affecting even the economy. So at that systemic change, what are the things that need to happen? When you begin to think about just better infrastructure, what are the things that are being put in place from that level so that people don't begin to take greener pastures outside there? Because I mean, the employers are not even somewhere in the middle. They are below the middle cadre in impacting that. So when you think about infrastructural change, systemic change, so that even people begin to desire what Nigeria has to offer. Of course, I mean, I don't know that there's anybody on this call that can truly make that change, but I think I just wanted to point that out, that that's where the conversation actually starts from, even before we begin to think about the employer.
No, I agree with you, but I think, as an entrepreneur,
while we're waiting for them to put
while
those
we are
jobs
waiting
in
for
place.
them, it's like
absolutely. The next thing I was going to say is, even in the businesses, I think one thing that employers can begin to maximize is the global market that has come out of this, right? The truth about it is you can attract talent from anywhere. Whether you like it or not, there's still talent that is coming into Nigeria. So how are we developing our systems to attract talent? While people might be leaving, there are people who are coming into the country, right? So the systems, the policies, the processes that every business has, is it attractive to even the people who want to come back, right? What are those things that you're doing on the systems that you have in place? Something else that we can do is the salaries that people are looking for. Is there anything, what can you do about that? Because people want to earn more, right? Part of the reasons why they're leaving is that people want to earn more money. When we're doing compensation benchmarks, right, where are we in that conversation as entrepreneurs? Yes, there's only so much we might be able to do as inflation continues to rise, but as individual businesses, what are the different things? And we talked about, yes, there's compensation, but what are the other things that you can do for your employers that becomes attractive beyond the amount of money that you're paying them so that they stay? But I totally agree with what Chisom said in terms of compensation. But I think the last thing I'll just mention is the competency mapping. If we begin to realize the problems that are happening now, a lot of times we're thinking about succession planning, but how is every business going back into their organizations and saying, how are we mapping out the competencies that are needed for every single role in this business? And how are we developing that, right? What is our 3 to 5 year strategy, and what's the competencies that we would need 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line? Yes, it may change, but if I begin to prepare for what next year looks like, if I begin to prepare for what 2 years look like, if I communicate that to the employees that I have today and they buy into the vision of where I am going tomorrow, then maybe there's something that just becomes attractive to them to stay. But even if the entrepreneur is not even forward thinking, how do we get forward thinking to say, what are my strategies for tomorrow? And how do I get in my employees of today to buy into where this organization is going? And maybe that, reduces the amount of people that are excited to go.
No, I agree with you. I think, it's two things, right? It's from what I'm hearing, for what both of you have said, I think it's really important to say, what is the vision of the company and how are we growing? But, putting the employee in that journey and say, you're here, this is how we see you growing with the company, right? And so you're not just getting people who are in a transactional relationship with the company, but they are seeing themselves as partners to build that company. I guess, that's one of the ways and levers to pull. So let's now, we don't have a lot of time, but I want to, talk about the employee, right? And from the view of the employee. So one of the things that I've admired about Chisom, one of the things I've admired about Jobberman is just like, yes, we are a marketplace that connects, but now there's a lot of partnerships that you guys are doing with UNICEF, with MasterCard, and also, I'm seeing that with Wave as well. You guys are doing partnerships in order to not just do the matching, but also to create the skills and to create those opportunities, right? But Chisom, do you want to just talk about that? And I think where I'm going with this is where are those opportunities, right? What are you guys touching on? So let's say you guys are getting graduates. What are those things that are missing that you guys are essentially engaging them on to get them ready for whatever? And I know there's a lot of Google, I see CVs a lot, and everyone has like a Google training and Facebook training, but and so for me, it's already seeming that there needs to be more. If 10 people, I'm getting 10 CVs, and everyone has that. What are those other things that like Jobberman is looking into, and Wave is looking into to just add to those the skill sets that these guys need to have? Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with one of the major challenges some of the major challenges that HR personnel face when they are trying to recruit entry-level staff. The thing is, most of them don't know their career path. They don't know what they want yet. And this translates to a high rate of attrition in the long run. Then there's lack of employability skills. Now, what we do at Jobberman, most of the partnerships that we have one right now with MasterCard Foundation, where we train candidates on employability skills, soft skill training. Now, soft skills is not about, another thing is that clients usually ask for candidates that have certain number of years of experience and all that. There are some specific things that the client is looking for. So we provide free soft skills training to entry-level employees. Now, the thing is that a study that was conducted in, I think 2016 or so, they found out that 93% of hiring leaders mentioned that soft skills are essential or very, very important when making hiring decisions. Now, what are soft skills? Soft skills are interpersonal relationships, emotional intelligence, basically how you relate to your fellow human. So the thing is that the employers reported that most of them actually reported that soft skills are even more important than tech skills, because once you address the soft skills of the candidates, you can basically train them on any other thing. So Jobberman comes in and we train candidates. We are partnering with MCF to actually train about 5 million 0 to 3 years experience entry-level candidates on soft skills. So that is a major gap that we are trying to fill in the job market. Yes, so that when you finally get a job, you can hit the ground running to an extent. You know exactly what to expect. You know what is expected of you. You know how to relate with people. It reduces what the SMEs are going to do for the candidates, because most of the time when they come in, new in like that, they need a lot of training. You need to teach them how to send emails. You need to teach them how to, a lot of things. So Jobberman comes to bridge that gap so that once you get your desired job or your desired employee, they can hit the ground running.
Yeah. So what are those, from your point of view, what are those soft skills that you guys are focusing on that you feel there's a gap in the market that needs to be filled? Yeah.
When I think about the soft skills, I mean, a lot of them are, I think the number one thing that a lot of people want people to have is like just critical thinking, analytical thinking, right? Because problem solving, right? Because at the end of the day, when you just the ability to be able to think through problems, right? Analyze the situations that you're facing and proffer some solutions. They might not be the best solutions, but how are you just thinking in the direction of where to go? So when you think about just communication, I mean, a lot of times it seems oversprawled, but just, I mean, Chisom mentioned how to type emails, right? How to even just interact internally, have conversations with people on the outside. So when you're thinking about your communication, you're thinking about problem solving, emotional intelligence, right? How am I interacting with people? How am I interacting with clients? How am I interacting with people internally? time management, managing expectations, those are the kind of things that we're seeing. But I think one of the things that you mentioned in terms of what we're seeing from the employee side, that is also part of this conversation, and we've been thinking about more recently, is literally just entrepreneurship as well. So, and what are those entrepreneurship skills? Yes, you might not go on to start, even if you go on. So there are a lot of people who are going off to start their own businesses. But even when you begin to train people on the entrepreneurial skills, that just gives them that entrepreneurial mindset. So yes, they might want to go and start some small scale business, but the skills are also beneficial when they go into the business of just thinking, if this was my business, and just that sense of ownership to treat those businesses alike. And I think those are some of the things that we are beginning to do internally as we see the trend. I mean, the soft skills we have always trained on, but one of the things that we are learning and we need to begin to do more of is also just incorporate those entrepreneurial skills, either for people to go and start their own businesses or just enter into a business with a completely different mindset for success.
You know, you mentioned critical thinking and problem solving, and my brain just did, because, I have this conversations with a lot of entrepreneurs, fellow business owners, so like, at what point can that be taught, where in, and so even as people are already being, you're already engaging them, is it too late to teach, critical thinking and problem solving?
No, absolutely not. But I think, and before I talk about the studies, I think it's also important to recognize where this problem started for. Because I think that at the moment where we're able to identify the root cause, then we're able to begin to solve the problems. And I'm sure for the job seekers here, and for most of us that are seated here, I mean, we went through primary school with our teachers basically telling us to copy notes off of a board. And when we asked questions, if we didn't copy the notes the right way, we failed. When we went into secondary school, if we didn't copy the notes, we were not even allowed to change the words in the dictation when you're dictating to someone and it must be exactly the same words that you're using, it doesn't allow you to even think about any other way that this can be interpreted. You went into a tertiary institution for those that did, or university, and you bought handouts, and when you took an exam, you had to write exactly the same thing that was written in that handout, or you failed. So when you begin to understand that this is where the problem is coming from, and people have not, from the very beginning, you've not been able to question authority, and your school system has actually dampened on your ability to critically think. Now, some of the things that we do to begin to do that is, we work with a lot of case studies to help people say, what would you do, right? So there are a lot of case studies, there are a lot of scenarios, just to begin to open people's minds, allow people to come into a room and ask questions, because the society doesn't necessarily allow people to ask questions, allow people to question every single thing. Why is that? Businesses might say, oh, but it has always been like that, but give people the ability to challenge and just say, why is this done this way? Tell people the why behind the things that they have done without necessarily telling them exactly what they need to do. The moment you tell them why, they are able to design that same thing, thinking about a different way, but also remaining aligned to the reason why you want it to get done. And these are some of the ways we have been able to incorporate, but I just wanted to mention where we're starting from and why how we have decided to fix the problem, just opening up people's minds to begin to see, just bring a completely different perspective to every single conversation, because that has been dampened for a very long time.
No, I totally agree with you. Even in every interview that I run, I have to have a case study in something relatively, it's connected to the business, but it has to be, if you are in this situation, what would you do, right? And I think one of the things that, we need to emphasize that we've been raised, to, it's very interesting, like, just like, I'll make a joke, when you're a teenager, you're at home, your parents are like, don't date. And then when you graduated from university, it's like, when are you getting married? It's also the same thing with like, when when growing up, is like, don't ask, just do. But once you now move into the workplace, everyone is just wondering, why didn't you ask it, right? And so it is super interesting. It's like, and I don't know, I, for one, as an employer, ask those questions, and and that's essentially one of the deal breakers, right? And and even when people come on, it's just that changing that muscle of asking. I tell people that like 5 whys. Ask why,
exactly.
why, and why until you really get to where what the crux is. But just I don't know, how are you guys besides all this, digital skills, critical thinking, how are you guys thinking about that? Especially how are employers, asking and engaging on that, and how are, employees to be basically, changing that mindset and working towards having critical thinking and problem solving. Yeah. Chisholm, over to you. Chisholm, are you there? Okay, I think she's her screen is frozen. But I think one more. We are running out of time. We have about 9 minutes. But I think where the one question that I have, there are a lot of people who are looking for opportunities. The question is where should they go, and how should they navigate this labor market? What are those recommendations? So for starters, where should folks go to look for jobs, essentially? Samantha, maybe you can speak to that.
So I mean, if you think about the traditional place where people look for work, right? I mean, you have people interacting with friends and family. You have people on job boards. I mean, the Jobberman, the LinkedIn. I mean, a lot of people utilize social media and things like that. But I think the one thing that I would say is, I mean, I don't know how many of us know this, but I'm sure a number of people know this, that talks about like the 6 degrees of separation, right? Most especially when you're looking for an entry-level job. It's literally the networks and the connections that you have built. The 6 degrees of separation says that you're literally 6 social connections away from anyone in the world. I don't know if anybody has ever practiced it, but I'm just using that to explain what I'm saying, to say that what are the connections you're looking for, what are the jobs you're looking for, and how do you utilize those networks that you have built to get the opportunities that you want. So even if you're going on LinkedIn, who are the people that you're connecting with, right, to be able to say, so that when those opportunities come up, they remember you? Who are the friends and families that you're interacting with and sharing your job opportunities with, so that they know, right? What are you utilizing your social media handles for? Are you actually displaying the skills that you have learned so that you're recognizable and you're at the top of minds of people? And really just those things. I wouldn't say there's one specific place that you should go to find the opportunities that you're looking for, but I would just say all of the places that you're going to, how you leveraging on the networks that you're building within that space, whether it's on social media or in your physical interactions, because you're not too far away from your employer, as long as you continue to put build your personal brand and put your face out there so that people recognize you.
I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
Based on those things, right? And we will wrap up. First is on branding. What is, what's that capacity? Like, how does branding work in terms of, in pursuit for job opportunities? How does that work? Do you need to have presence on social media? I know a lot of things happen on LinkedIn, and maybe that's one way, but how does branding work, and how do folks navigate that to stand out?
I mean, I'm definitely not claim to be any personal branding expert or anything, but I can just share some of the things that I know. I think one of the ways to do that is, I mean, if we take LinkedIn as an example, right? And as you're learning how you're posting up your certificates, right? Even on your Instagram pages, what are the things that you're talking about? How are you interacting? Community that you're building. I think one of the things that we need to begin to understand is and how we use social media for our benefit. How are we leveraging these communities that we're building? There's so many communities that are out there. As you're learning, how are you letting people know the things that you're learning? Because I mean, what is the image? If someone goes on your social media platform, what is the image of you that they have? That's the way I'll think about branding. The moment they see, are they seeing your growth? Because at the end of the day, people want to see growth. Are they seeing your growth? Are they seeing the things that you're interacting with? Are they seeing the things that you're learning? And how are you literally just putting yourself out there, most especially when you're looking for work? I think one of the things that LinkedIn gives you the ability to do is, I think on your profile picture, you can say like job seeker or something like that, right? Or even hiring managers can put the tag hiring so that people know. How are you just building, how are you writing articles, or how are you really spending your time doing the things that will make you noticeable while utilizing social media? But I don't just want to rest in social media alone, because we are also having those physical interactions. How am I letting people know the things that are going on in my life? And then the direction of where I want to get to. And that's the way I would say that people utilize that.
No, that's super, super insightful. And I think one of the things that, just also observing from LinkedIn, it's just really amazing how you find people. I like, the confidence people have in reaching out and saying, I like your company, this is what I can offer. And then go on their page, they talk about their skills. And so, you don't have to be a content creator to get a job. You basically can, from LinkedIn, you basically know events where you can, and now, LinkedIn, you can find events that people are going for.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and the certifications, etc. So I think that is good. I heard Chisam, are you back? Chisam back? Okay. The second question, and I read somewhere that about 80%, I might be wrong, but let me just say 60 to 80% of jobs are by referrals. And I mean, so you had touched on that. And when we think about referrals is obviously, I, for example, when I'm looking for trying to employ someone, I tell my employees and people are connecting, etc. Right? And also, especially when you see this in the marketing, digital marketing, or you see this in the tech, and I would like to see it in other places where there are now smaller communities of people. And so, and I think this question and this point is for both employees and employers, right? I think from an employee point of view, it's just like how, I think that could be a cool thing, cool way to engage and find jobs. And from an employer, I think that and even Jobberman and the Wave, like how are we looking at that as a source of employment? Just some way, I don't know if when something was talking about those ways that employees can navigate, talked about community and 6 degrees of separation. I want to just, if you have any thoughts on community, how folks are leveraging community, both employees and employers. Yeah, and that's my last question.
Okay. Basically, I say this all the time, when we talk about networking, a lot of, especially entry-level employees think it's something huge or complicated and all that. A lot of employers are leveraging on communities, referrals to fill roles, really, because when you do that, it's to an extent, it does a little bit of background check for you. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Yes. So if you were to come to me as a friend, a church member, a close acquaintance or something, and you ask me, oh, I need a recruiter. If I were to refer someone to you, you will hold that person in greater standing than someone, just a random CV that you got, because you would be like, okay, this person probably has either worked with this person or has related with this person in this capacity. So I'm sure that this person should know what to do. So for employees, I would say that you need to make good use of the communities that you find yourself in. Communities may not necessarily be ICANN or CIPM or my fellow HR or my fellow candidates and all that. Communities as small as the church, do they know what you do? Do they know you're looking for a job? And then when you relate with people, you need to be a good person, really. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to help people, because you need to be able to put yourself out there so that people actually know that you exist. There are a lot of us, and people will not be coming to do a research on you on your own, right? There's something that you would do or say that will pique that person's interest. So you need to leverage on your community's church, your neighbors, your gatherings that you go to. When you go out somewhere, they're having a conversation. If you have an intelligent input to put in, just contribute something.
Word.
Do you understand? So yes, so leverage on that. A lot of employers are leveraging on that, because when you get someone through referrals, it's actually practically free. Do you understand? So another thing that employers do is that they leverage on Jobberman's what will I call it? Our influence, our sphere of influence, the people that we know, to also fill their roles. So that's why when Jobberman fills your roles, at least there's a guarantee that, okay, these people have done a thorough check on these people and they can place the right candidates. Yes.
No, I love it, right? I think it is a good way to wrap it up in terms of what, and I think in a way that brings both employees can do and employers can look out for and leverage, communities, right? And I think, church, it is, one of the most important communities and touch points outside of work. And, you see a lot of churches that even have, seminars and communities for young people looking for jobs, and even and business owners. And so how do you engage? And I think what I liked about what you said, Chisom, is also you need to be a giver. You need to be seen to be a giver, because it's only when you do that that people can really articulate what you can offer on an ongoing basis, right? I would, we've run out of time, but I want to do two things. I want famous last words from you, Sumter, and maybe from speaking to employees in terms of your top 3 things that they can do to navigate the job market, and basically what Wave can offer both employees and employers. And I think, Chisom, I'd like for you to say your famous last words for employers, and also what Jobberman and how folks can engage today with Jobberman for both employees and employers can engage with Jobberman today. Go for it, something. Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing I would say, what I'd like to leave every job seeker with today is I was looking at the World Economic Forum 2022 outlook for skills for 2022. And I think it's 9 out of the 10 top skills are all soft skills, from analytical thinking to critical thinking to problem solving, emotional intelligence. So it means that the skills of the future are not changing to specific roles. They're not specific roles that we're looking for, but it's literally what are the skills that will continue to enable you to be relevant in the future. Interestingly, one of the skills I think is actually the second skill that is most important is actually the ability to learn, learning how to learn. It's amazing that the ability to learn is actually a skill. So I think the last thing I'll leave with everybody is just to say, how am I ensuring that I'm learning? And I think that that's one of the things that Wave offers, right? I mean, we won't say we're one of the leading organizations that are training in soft skills, right? So we give you the ability, I mean, you come into our trainings and then we're able to train you on all of these relevant skills that make you to continue to be successful. I think today, even from the employer side, so I mean, we're training young people, we're offering recruitment services to businesses. We also do corporate training for businesses, because I mean, some businesses already have hired people within their businesses and are not looking to add additional talent. We're able to go in there and train. I mean, so these are some of the things that we're offering to people. I think to your last question, even from our alumni network, one of the things that we found in terms of building communities, some of the referrals for vacancies that we have found even come from people who have gone through the WAVE program to say, oh, I've left this place, I'm in this new organization, they're recruiting for people, I know that WAVE is the right place to go, and then they come back to us and tell us about that vacancy or about that organization. So really just building communities. But in fact, to just sum this up is, how do you continue to learn? How do you continue to focus on the soft skills, because they are the skills of the future? And if you're looking for the organization that will grow, that will help businesses improve employee productivity, if young people are looking for the organizations to train them on these skills, then WAVE is definitely the place to go.
Great, awesome. Chisam, over to you.
So at Jobberman, we have different services that cater to different types of employers. So no matter what your industry is, no matter the sector that you are in, no matter who it is that you're looking for, we have a database that is rich with basically candidates, good top quality candidates from every sphere, every sector, not only in Lagos, Nigeria as a whole, Uganda, Kenya. So if you come to us, we would help you to match the right talent for the role that you want to fill, to help you to grow your organization. So we have different packages. We have our best match services. We have our pro recruit services. We have both for SMEs as well as for organizations. Yeah. So all you need to do is come to our website. You see the range of options that we have, and we can help you out. Yes.
Awesome. My own thing, I've asked the questions, but when I think about traction and how we can help, I want to mention two things actually. The first is, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, is that we have created a platform to enable businesses to manage and grow their business. And so from our, offering in-person payment, so that's your card, bank transfer, USSD and QR code, lending, but also business management tools. We have diagnostics on our platforms. On our platform, we have, invoicing, retail management solutions, and even an online store. So essentially that all-in-one solution. I think the last thing that we are actually even doing for employees or even for the labor market is our affiliate program. And we're going to share a video very quickly. I'm going to wrap up on that. Our affiliate program essentially is, how do we enable 10,000, 20,000 people to join our sales force without, across the country. And what that means is that, you might look at it as a side hustle, but you also might look at it as, as something that you want to do full time. And you get commission out of, every single sale. And what we even do is that sometimes we actually recommend people for you to go sell to. And what we have seen is that people earn a well-meaning salary from that. We're going to just share a video on our affiliate program. And after that, we just say goodbyes. Thank you. Okay, Shay, go for it.
Here is a step-by-step video on how to sign up for the Traction Partnership Program. In order for you to sign up, you need to input your personal details, including your first name, last name, email address, password, as well as your location. It will also ask you for your bank account information so that we know exactly which account to pay your money into. We'll also ask you a little bit about who you are, and then you're set to sign up. Now that you are signed up and logged in, you'll be taken to the dashboard page. The first thing that you will see is your total earnings and your pending earnings. The total earnings show you exactly how much you have made, and the pending earnings show you how much you are owed. Scrolling down, you will then be able to see the performance tracker. The performance tracker will show you exactly how many referrals that you have made and how many active merchants you have referred. Following this, you also see the referral fees for each of the different types of terminals that you can refer. You have Android, which is 5,000 Naira. You have Linux, which is 3,500 Naira. And then you have the MPOS terminal, which is 1,500 Naira. On the right-hand side, you can also see your referral code displayed. You are able to quickly share this code via Facebook, email, and Twitter. Alternatively, you can just choose to copy your referral code and then share it that way. Scrolling down, you can now see the sign-up earnings and the transaction earnings. The sign-up earnings show you the earnings that you should have made for each of the terminals bought by the merchants that you've signed up on Traction Apps. Be able to see the merchant name, the number of terminals bought, the earnings that you should expect from signing up that merchant, the terminal sign-up date, the merchant status, whether they are qualified or not qualified, and then the payment status, which tells you whether you've been paid for that specific merchant. On the transactions earnings side, you are able to see the merchant name, the terminal sign-up date, the payment status, and the earning status, which tells you whether the merchant has made enough transactions for you to earn a payment or not.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, guys. And put on my video. Thank you, guys. And so the affiliate platform is partners.tractionapp.co. It's put in the comment section. And I actually think Chisam and something. This is something that we should actually have a conversation afterwards, and see how we can work together on this. But thank you, guys. I feel like this was a very short, sweet, but also someone put in the comments and sent to me, it's like a conversation with intellectual chat with three friends. But I really think that like everyone, enjoyed, from the comments, it seems that it was a very insightful. I found it insightful. I learned a lot. And so, yeah, we will share the recordings and let's just continue in different capacities to continue, to engage on this topic. So thank you so much for coming, everyone, and we'll be in touch. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Dolapo, for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolapo, for having me.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.